Hey folks, it's been a while. Yep, I've been busy working on the homestead. So busy, I forgot to write, forgot to post videos, forgot to post on forums, and just been busy doing the work. And honestly, I forgot to get out the camera. That I've been so busy all by myself working that it became little hard to remember to get the camera out and film what I've been doing. So I figured a good place to start to get back into this and get people updated is to start where I came out about a year ago, last May, and that's my easement road. The easement road was nice and clear when I came out to scout and see if the snows had melted. I got up with my CRV and looked around the property, then went home to my brother's where I'd wintered over, then came back with my Chevy and started up this hill. I had to make a couple attempts because it was so thick and muddy. Got up part way and my engine died. The truck was out of commission. Didn't know much about what was wrong because I'm not a mechanic. I have a lot of skills and knowledge, but one of the big things I lack is mechanics. I only had 3 vehicles in my life, so I'm sort of slow on the uptake on engines. I've been lucky enough to be able to bike, walk, or take public transportation most of my life. It wasn't until I was living at a community in Arizona called Arcosanti that I finally bought my first car at about 35 years old. So wasn't too knowledgeable about how to fix my truck. Took me a while to get it back running. A couple of different people looking at it, trying to figure out what was wrong, finally pulling it down the hill and getting it into a shop. I actually had a neighbor who got his truck stuck right here in this mud, trying to pull me out, then had to come up with his heavy equipment and pull his truck out and then my truck out. So yeah, it was a adventure. So I'm gonna give you a little tour and walk along my easement road here and show you kind of what I've been dealing with. So give me a minute and I'll fix my tripod here. And as you can see, it's still pretty muddy and nasty up here. And the mosquitoes are crazy out. But, you deal. You just deal. This is me going through twice recently, and I've been trying to let the road rest and repair itself. But sometimes you got to get in and out. You can see I've been cutting channels, trying to get the water to drain. But the road is the low spot, and water just accumulates into the road and saturates it. Lots of fun. And this is just my easement road. You should see the main road. It is so worn out, big ruts, big holes. The neighbors don't understand letting a road rest. So they just keep driving, and wear the road down. And when it gets too impassable, they drive around and wear that part out again and again and again. 2 years now, I have fixed the road with a skid steer that I rented to do work on my property, and it's in just as bad a shape as the first time I fixed it. So as you can see, my easement road has nice little wet puddle spots like this that accumulate lots of water. I need to work on pulling all this organic soil off the road because it absorbs all the water and holds it, and get down to the inorganic soils and start putting rock over the top of that and build the road up so it's the high spot, not the low spot. Put some ditches in on the sides to drain the water and get the water moving away from the road. So just a little point of reference, my property, it starts over that way. You can't see exactly, but my property starts over that way, over that ridge a little ways, and then keeps going and going that way. So now we're getting to a nice little pond in the middle of the road. Yep, a pond in the road. In the summer, this dries all out, but come spring melt, it fills in. Now, last year, the water was up to about here. Yeah, that much water all the way in here. And the big reason for that, right here, there was a big berm that had been pushed up and was blocking any water from flowing out. So one of the things I did last year was knock that down, clear this space out of a bunch of junk, and I cut this back. It had already been here before, but I pushed it back and made it a lot better to drain the water out of this pond area. Now, the sad part, I would personally like to keep the water. I would love to hold the water in here and be able to then use the water later in the year, or even just have it as a nice natural feature. And one of the things I'm considering is actually eventually building a bridge across this pond area and letting the water fill back in. Build the berm back up, hold the water here. But, you know, lots of projects, so little time. One of the things I'm considering, I had said, you know, one of my corners was over that way. One of the things I'm considering is eventually punching through over here and building a road going back to this side of my property, because right now I don't have great access to that side of my property due to hills and terrain. So what I'm looking at is, part of the reason I pushed all this back and cleared a little ways up into there is there's a barbed wire fence back there that I'd have to cut through, but there's an old logging road that I could reestablish and start a road going down into that side of my property. Now here's a nice other muddy hill. As you can see, the water's flowing nice through the ruts. Ground is nice and squishy, and the mosquitoes are going crazy. The mosquitoes going through here, coming in and out. This is about a quarter mile of an easement road, and when I have to hike in and out, when my truck can't get in and out, or when I'm trying to rest the road, the mosquitoes can be so bad during dawn or sunset that it's a cloud around your head. Yeah, that bad. It's no fun. So, you know, generally try to make trips in times not the mosquito hour. But it's amazing, you know, 15-minute difference and you can suddenly have a lot less mosquitoes. So got a nice little area up here. There's a campsite back there for someone else. So there's this nice notch here in between the rocks. There's a rock ridge right there, a nice big one up there. And my property starts just at the top or just over that ridge, which is kind of nice. There's a nice spot right up here underneath this ponderosa that I gotten stuck earlier this spring. Right here you can see how disturbed the road soil is. Well, that's because my Chevy was sunk all the way down into it. I've been filling it back in with rocks and trying to get it back to shape, but yeah, it was no fun. Had it stuck there for, geez, a week or two, mainly because I'm working alone and because it wasn't a big priority. I have another car, so I just hike down to that and drive in and out with that. Eventually one of my neighbors came up and helped me with it. Due to the suction, I broke 2 winch cables with that. Yeah, 4,000 pound winch and the cable snapped twice. So yeah, the suction was pretty bad in there. So coming down here, and another nice little mud bog. This one has been just obnoxious. Again, the water's coming from both sides, so there's no real good way to drain it. And actually had algae growing on the surface. The water was just pooling on the top, and algae was starting to grow on top. Yep, nice big deep ruts. And as you can see, there's a private property, no hunting without permission sign. And this is about where my property starts. Now I say about because, well, I don't know exactly. I haven't had a survey done. I don't have the property lines fully marked out, but this is about where it starts. So I've cleared out a little bit here and here, just trying to push things back, give a little space for when in the winter I was pushing the snow around with my snow plow. I had somewhere to push it. And that's something I actually need to do more of, is get more spaces to push snow out to, because last year I had run out of places to push the snow. So I've got a little water diversion right here to bring the water off the road and down into the seasonal creek area. And something that I did this year was start building dams. I started this first dam right here, got it working fairly well. There's a little leak in it. When the water dries up this summer, I'll work on that and fix it so that it doesn't leak, and then it'll just come out the little spillway here. I built it up by just clearing a little area and piling rocks, then dirt, piling rocks, then dirt, piling rocks, and then dirt, until I built it up to this. Eventually, I'm gonna have a series of dams going down this creek just to hold the water and let it slow down and soak in. These dams don't have to be totally watertight. I'm not putting anything in there to line it and make sure it stays there. This is just about letting the water slow down. So right here, you can see I've started cutting up the hill. This is where I'm building the road going up to my build site. And yes, it's still in progress. This is just a beginning step here. And across from here, I want to push across and build a dam all the way across this creek area and meet up with the hillside over there so that I can have access going across that space and up the hill there. And as you can see, we're getting down to my camp space. Now, a little different from the last time you saw it. I've got 2 carports on either side of a little wood cabin and a large carport where I built around my trailer. So again, water. I've got a little, the creek drains out into here. I put a little basin there to wash my hands out and wash different things out, and then it drains down through there. This is 2 years worth of trash. Up here, I've had 2 years with a winter off, and I've got 10 bags of trash that built up. And most of that is actually styrofoam and packaging material and recyclables, plastic and glass and cans. Now, the sad part, this area doesn't have a good recycling system. I think I can only recycle plastic, and the glass is not recyclable out here. There's my snowplow over there. But, you know, they're working on things. I've got my little archery target space over here, and I've been clearing this out. There was a old slash pile there that I burnt away a bit, and been clearing back into here, back over there. This carport, the tarp had gotten ripped to shreds, so I put some old tarps over it, but I plan to fix that up a little more. Over here, I've got a little space where I hang out, drink coffee in the morning, have my little fire pit. I've got a tarp down here that I'm planning to hoist up over the RV carport, so the white face is showing. That will help keep the tent in there a little cooler. And of course, got my little Cascadia flag flying. So the metal shed that I had on the other side of the pond is now taken apart, and I've been using the parts to cover the roof of the shed here. That way I don't have to go buy a bunch of metal roofing and just recycle older materials. And let me give you a little break here, and I'll come back in a moment with a little more tour. All right, take care, bye.